Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Frankie and I'm the Health Expert Ambassador for FemFresh. Welcome back to my Women's Health Wednesdays. In this video, I'm talking about something that I think is really important, and that is intimate care after sex. This is something that I think we should be talking about because movies, particularly the pornography industry, are quite misleading when it comes to intimate care after sex. So I have been creating this content to bust some of the myths and break down some of the taboos and talk about what you should actually be doing to cleanse and care for the intimate area after sex. So let's get into it. First things first, something that I always want to reiterate at the beginning of all of my content around this is that the vagina itself is self-cleaning. So as I've mentioned in my previous videos, if you're new here, I would recommend checking out those previous videos. What I've mentioned before is that the vulva and the vagina has its unique microbiome of bacteria, which all live in harmony and maintain this acidic pH, which basically is a self-defense mechanism against any bacteria that could come in and cause irritations and infections. So your vagina will naturally produce a thin white discharge, which will clean from the inside out. So that's the most golden rule to understand when it comes to feminine hygiene and intimate care. As long as you remember it's self-cleaning, then you won't go wrong. So when you remember that the vagina is self-cleaning and produces this natural discharge and does lots of things to maintain and regulate its pH, you'll kind of then understand why you don't need to frantically clean yourself, whether that's on your period or day to day or after sex in particular. And I do hear this from patients and lots of girls in my DMs as well, asking me about how they should cleanse after sex or during their period and things. I think it's important to know that you don't need to frantically clean yourself after sex. I actually had a DM from someone telling me that they cleansed with Dettol after sex to try and reduce the risk of contracting a sexually transmitted infection or an STI, and that is really potentially dangerous. So the first point I want to reiterate, and the first myth I guess I want to bust, is that cleaning yourself with antibacterials or any sort of wash is not going to protect you from a sexually transmitted infection. The only way to prevent STIs is to use barrier contraceptions such as condoms, or if you are having unprotected sex, only if both you and your partner have had a recent negative STI check. So that is myth number one to bust, that cleaning does not reduce your risk of STIs, no matter what anyone tells you. The other important point to remember when we're talking about cleaning after sex is that very heavily fragranced or soap-containing washes can be really irritating to the vulva and vagina because they often contain chemicals which can disrupt the pH and make the microbiome unhappy. So if you do want to cleanse after sex, then I would recommend using warm water only, or if you'd like to use a wash, something like the FemFresh Daily Wash is perfect because it is 100% soap-free and it's also pH balanced, so it's going to work with your microbiome rather than against it. So this is something that I'd recommend. Also, I know lots of people have opinions about this, but some girls do wish to cleanse after sex, and using something like a pH balanced wipe is also suitable. Something like the FemFresh Daily Wipes are also suitable. These are pH balanced, they are flushable, and they are biodegradable. So these could be a good option for cleaning up after sex if you wish to. They also contain aloe and candula extracts, which are really soothing because sometimes our intimate areas can be a bit irritated after sex. What I want to make really clear about feminine wipes is that you don't need to be using these excessively every day, multiple times a day. That could actually be damaging because it could imbalance the microbiome. So if you want to use a wipe, there's a time and a place for them, but I'm not saying that you need to use these all day, every day. But after sex, if you want to clear up, these are going to be kind, gentle, and soothing. Other tips to reduce your risk of infections or irritation after sex is to wee after sex, because sometimes we can get urinary tract infections for two reasons. Sometimes from the friction against our bladder, and also sometimes bacteria can track up the urethra after sex and cause irritation, whether that be cystitis, which is irritation, which can cause symptoms such as pain when weeing or frequency, or whether that be an actual urinary tract infection. So weeing after sex can be useful for many. Another thing is to clean your sex toys and don't share sex toys because they can also spread infections. And whenever it comes to cleaning, never try and clean the inside of the vagina. Remember that if you are going to cleanse, it's on the external vulval surfaces only, because the vaginal canal is self-cleaning and putting anything inside could actually disrupt the pH and cause infections or irritation. I hope you found that useful and that it helps you keep your sex safe and your microbiome happy. My name is Dr. Frankie. I am the FemFresh Health Expert Ambassador, and I will see you in the next video and the next episode of our Women's Health Wednesdays. Bye now!